Lord Belgrave is posting about NDAs, Ripple, and the XRP ledger. We got to get into what is he talking about here. We're also going to take a look at some other information around NDAs on the XRP ledger. Are there expiration dates on any of these NDAs? When can we expect to see some of this stuff? We're going to get into all of those details and more in this video, guys. Let's just jump right into it. This is Lord Belgrave's account, guys. He says he is an ex-City London banker, now based in New York, Bitcoin since 2016, XRP since 18 cents. Just want to let you know there's really no way to verify who this person is, but there's a lot of people in the XRP space that are retweeting and talking about this. So I thought it'd be great to bring it up here, go over it with you, and give you my thoughts. So the first NDA excerpt I will share is drawn from the Mutual Non-Disclosure Strategic Cooperation Agreement executed between Swiss banking major and an American blockchain infrastructure company. What follows is merely the purpose clause. The remainder of the agreement is even more revealing. So it says UBS here, NDA. So let's scroll down and see what this person is saying. Purpose of the agreement. The parties acknowledge their mutual interest in collaborating on the design, deployment, and validation of secure real-time financial infrastructure that enables cross-border value transfer via neutral, protocol-agnostic mechanisms, tokenization and settlement of regulated financial instruments, leveraging distributed ledger technologies, integration of identity-verified asset flows, incorporating frameworks for biometric identity mapping, execution of real-time gross settlement, which are known as RTGS systems, simultaneously in conformity with the next-generation financial messaging standards, which are ISO 20022, deployment of institution-grade messaging and liquidity channels for wholesale market transactions under emerging international frameworks. He goes on to say observations from a practitioner's lens, neutral, protocol agnostic is technical language for bridge assets such as XRP, infrastructure that eliminates the reliance on a single sovereign currency, the reliance on the US dollar or the yen or any one currency. Tokenization of regulated instruments references treasuries, sovereign debt, ETFs, and structured notes, not retail crypto products. The mention of biometric identity mapping is far beyond the remit of traditional banking agreements. It signals the future fusion of digital identity rails with settlement systems. There's a lot of fraud and mismanagement in the system. Bringing this biometric identity mapping could be the key to pushing out a lot of that fraud and waste in the system. And when you're talking about the tokenization of financial products, we know how important this is to the United States. They need stablecoin companies to come in and buy treasuries to back up the stablecoins. This is really going to help the US dollar remain the world reserve currency for the time being. But you look at BlackRock, you look at Ripple, you look at Ondo, right? Open Eden, they are working to tokenize treasuries on the XRP ledger. That is going to be very big, as well as money market funds. It says the agreement further stipulates this agreement governs the exchange of non-public information necessary to evaluate joint operational models and potential participation in multi-layered liquidity corridors across compliant jurisdiction. That is a mouthful, isn't it? Woohoo! All right, here's step 5. Interpretation in plain terms. Multi-layered liquidity corridors denotes a convergence of fiat rails, tokenized securities, and CBDCs and neutral bridges operating in tandem, everything working together. Across compliant jurisdictions establishes the groundwork for a global interoperable clearance layer, one that no single state owns, but the institutions must eventually interface with. The subject, a blueprint for tokenized capital markets, a systemic scale. Now, let me ask you this question as you're listening to all of this stuff, right? This is bringing up a lot of things in the back of my head. I don't want to go through all of them because you're like, damn, Sensei, there's a lot going on up there. But you start to wonder, how do you connect all of this stuff? What are you going to use to do that? What technologies, right? How's this all going to work? You're going to need, obviously, Chainlink to help connect legacy systems to the new digital rails and update data across the sphere of the entire globe. But you're going to need a neutral bridge asset that is going to be key and important to all of this settlement. Settlement is the issue, the biggest issue. Getting correct data, also a big issue, but settlement is the largest problem that the world has. This is why it takes 2 to 5 days, if you're lucky, to move a payment across the world. Now, Swift has sped that up. Swift GPI is faster. You could do same hour settlement or same day settlement, but you're paying still that swift and hefty fee to do that. Why would you go through all of that? Wait that full hour when you can use blockchain to move it even faster for 80, 90, maybe even more, less to do that. So man, a lot of stuff going on here. It is important to stress what I have disclosed here is only the purpose clause of the agreement. The full document encompasses operational frameworks, governance models, liability allocations, and jurisdictional carve-outs. I will release excerpts selectively at a pace and depth consistent with personal safety. So he believes that if he releases all of this information, this is what it sounds like, that he's worried for his safety. Listen, we don't know what different cabals are out there, and this information, if it is hitting home, if this information is all accurate, there could be people targeting people like this that are trying to let the public know, or this person could be doing this for views and clicks. We just don't know where it is. Some of this information does kind of sound like we are talking about Ripple and XRP in this agreement, but it could be made to look that way. So I just want to give you that full disclosure here. So we really don't know, we don't have the document, right? If anything, I would throw that document into Perplexity, or we look at the online to see if we can confirm the document, verify it with anything else that's out there. That's how we can confirm this is real or not. We just don't have access to it. Why this matters. Contrary to public narrative, Ripple's work was never limited to remittance corridors. These agreements reveal a coordinated effort to engineer a neutral, auditable, institutional grade settlement architecture that's designed to rewire global markets from custody to capital formation. Look at the companies Ripple has been buying. It was Medico, right? Their whole job is custody of financial assets. So you have Medico, you also have Ripple custody now. Then they get into trying to connect with the FX, right? Hidden Road. That is $3.5 trillion a year in clearing. They know how important that is going to be to take that institutional step into the infrastructure that these banks and conglomerates are already using. Now they're working on buying Rail. Rail does 10% of all Rail's business is 10% of the global stablecoin market, business to business, right? And that's only a few billion right now, but where is that going to be 5 or 10 years down the line? I'd imagine it'll be a few trillion, in my personal opinion. All right, let's keep it going here. He says, my approach, I will proceed deliberately. Each disclosure will be accompanied by context interpretation to avoid mischaracterization. The documents exist. They were drafted by legal counsel, scrutinized by regulators, and transacted through the hands of bankers like myself. And I know there are others who have seen them and more. And he's saying deep dives, context, and evidence, I cannot risk circulating publicly. I will share secretly on Telegram. Just know this, this could be a ploy to get you into Telegram to scam you. You just don't know. I'm not joining this person's Telegram, but I will keep looking at the data that they are providing because I find it incredibly interesting. And I know that some of you out there like this as well. So let's just take a look at it. We'll talk about it. That's all we can do to better understand all this, right? Some of the stuff that we're seeing might never come to fruition, but a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about for years on this channel certainly coming true, right? Understanding the speculation around NDAs and Ripple, I did want to talk about this, but I still see a lot of people not understanding what all of this means. So let's just get into this and give you everything that you need to know. Hidden blockbuster partnerships. Many holders believe some of Ripple's NDAs conceal major, possibly game-changing relationships with global banking giants, central banks, and payment networks and tech companies. These may include exclusive listing deals, first-mover integrations, and strategic pilot projects poised to trigger institutional adoption on a massive scale if revealed. Global financial infrastructure, there's recurrent speculation that NDAs are hiding the most advanced use cases of XRP, like cross-border CBDC solutions, SWIFT replacement integrations, or the backbone level payment rails for large notional or multinational networks. Potential market catalysts, some theorize a single NDA reveal, such as a partnership with the US Federal Reserve, Visa, or Amazon, could cause an explosion in XRP's price surge as the market realizes the scale of institutional buy-in and is shielded amid regulatory uncertainty. What's actually in Ripple's NDAs? Facts and analysis. Legal experts and court filings clarify that 1,700 NDAs figure is an umbrella term. It covers a mixture of contracts, NDAs, trading agreements, and direct XRP sales. So when someone says there's 1,700 NDAs, it's not actually correct. There's 1,700 contracts, which some of those are NDAs, and some of those are trading agreements, right? With exchanges or different banks that are interested in using XRP or reselling XRP, right? Direct XRP sales, service deals. And then Ripple also has deals with their employees to gift them XRP, and that was when some of these came up. The vast majority likely involve confidential confidential details about payment settlement infrastructure tests and sandbox pilots, commercial terms for buying and selling or using XRP in liquidity solutions and remittance products, protecting sensitive business strategies from competitors and market-moving leaks, shield institutions from regulatory risk while they evaluate XRP's tech. Some NDAs might contain generally significant news, but most are standard business contracts ensuring professional secrecy. Critics of speculation debunked myths. Legal analysts, notably Bill Morgan, argued that the idea of all NDAs were meant to expire after the SEC's case is a myth. So interesting. Bill Morgan argued that the idea all NDAs were meant to expire after the SEC case is a myth. NDAs are formulated to protect both Ripple and its partners, not to tease the market. And expiration generally happens only by mutual agreement. So these NDAs don't really have or shouldn't have an expiration date. The only reason they would come to expire is if both parties decide to either dissolve that or move on from that NDA. Broader impact. While disclosures of select NDAs are positively impact settlement and price, the majority are expected to be routine, not market-moving bombshells. And I asked Perplexity for its take. It says, my take, I love that. Is plausible. Some NDAs really do conceal substantial institutional advancements, global bank pilots, back-end integration, with major payment processors, or early-stage CBDC experiments. This aligns with Ripple's clear positioning as a bridge between legacy and finance and blockchain. However, given the legal and procedural realities, the bulk of NDAs are likely standard, protecting the privacy of commercial and technical evaluations or limited scope projects. The true blockbuster partnerships will probably only be revealed as those institutions are comfortable going public post-litigation and won't be disclosed at once. XRP holders should expect a mix of exciting disclosures and routine implementations rather than just a single headline grabbing reveal. I thought that was a really good way to kind of loop all that information in. And the last but not least, I want to show you this is according to a former Ripple employee, Anthony Welfare, Ripple launched 8 CBDC stablecoin projects with a similar number of NDAs, right? There's a lot of other CBDC pilots that we don't even know about that haven't been made to the public, right? There's over 20, and we've only got several that have been publicly announced. So you start to wonder, why haven't those been announced yet? When will those be announced, and what are actually going to be in them, and what are the countries involved? You start to look at maybe France or maybe the ECB. There could be some really juicy countries in there that have large economies. And you do often see Ripple in rooms that only a select few of people around the world are allowed into. Ripple is one of the biggest blockchain infrastructure companies in the world, and over the next few decades, they will become one of the most powerful companies, in my personal opinion, breaking the top 10 or top 5 or maybe in the top 3 of most valued companies because of their assets like XRP and because of their solutions that they can bring to the world. All right, I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into NDAs and Lord Belgrave's information, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic Sunday and a great week ahead. If you want to take crypto knowledge to the next level, guys, I've been posting like a madman in my community, Cryptonaires. Right now, we have 25% off. wap.com/Cryptonaires. Link down in the description. XRP 25 to get 25% off your first month. I hope to see you around the community. If you want to ask me questions or engage with me directly, that is the best way to do it. I'll see you next time. Aloha. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.